What's going on, guys? Bao here back with some genetic gladiators. So let's get into this. Today you're going to be watching the breeding event, which is the Undead Dragon and a Cerberus. Basically you got to use one of the two to breed. Calaca, I think that's how you say it, is going to be the main or the rarest mutant you can get, which currently was only in, I think, like the bank. Basically the only time you could ever get it, besides there was a few other times, was by actually buying it. So they usually had it in the shop. It was like $10, or in a pack for like the bank, which was like 150. I don't know, just a ton of times they've had it. Is been pretty expensive. But the reason everybody is trying to go for this character is for one simple fact: if you can complete the line that it's in, it gives you a furnace. So it's basically 50 gold every 2 days forever. So even if you have to spend 5,000 gold, you're gonna get that gold back, especially if you play. All you have to do is get on every 2 days, and eventually you'll recoup the gold you spent. Plus I think the other line was like reactor tokens or something like that. So everyone was trying to get this one, unless you already bought it, of course. I think they had it one time in the slots. I believe was in the slots one time, and then also there was a time, no, I think this is the only breeding event it's ever been in. I'm trying to think, because they've had a ton of breeding events, but I don't think you've ever been able to breed it. I don't know, there might have been one other time that you could have gotten it without actually buying it, but this is going to be the main one. I know I'm late with this. By the time this comes out, of course, it's going to be over. But I did speed up the video. It took me about an hour, I think. So yeah, and it took quite a bit of gold. So hopefully you guys got lucky. If you guys were going for any of the other characters, because there were other characters that you guys could have gotten, then hopefully you got the ones you were going for. But basically, anytime you guys have these breeding events, don't listen to what everybody else is. Well, it depends on what they're saying, but most people, what they're saying is, oh, the correct parents for the said mutant, or what's the breed for getting this mutant, or stuff like that. There isn't a specific breed. All you have to do, you can breed the same mutants 100 times and you can get it within that, or someone could breed it once with like a different character and get it. So all it is, if you're going for this character, or if you're going for said character, because it's already been passed, all you had to do was pick one of the two characters. You got Undead Dragon and Cerberus. Cerberus being the cheaper of the options, because if you use Undead Dragon, it costs quite a bit more. It was about 40, 50, upwards of that in terms of gold. In terms of, as you see here, Cerberus, most of the breeds I did with him were about 17 gold, so just to speed them up basically. So that's not that much, as to where Undead Dragon, you would have ones that were 40, some were way up there, and a couple hundreds of gold, because there were like 14 hours or some crazy amount. And basically all you had to do is pick one of the two. So boom, we already picked the one we needed, Cerberus. Okay, you have Cerberus, they're both the same. They're both undead, or necro and zoomorph. So you have that set already. You go look for the character that they're giving away, which if you would have went to the bingo, I think it was research 9. And if you would have looked at the line it was in, it was basically necro mythic. So that entails you getting mythic, and the easiest way to get a mythic is have the second mutant be only mythic. I wouldn't use the demon, because the amount of time or the amount of gold you would have to spend would have been more. For some reason it's just that way with mythic. Mythics are always more expensive, so use the newer characters. You could literally use the same character over and over and over and get different breeds, because there were other characters that required mythic and necro, and you could have gotten those other ones. Some people were making it seem like, oh, there was like all these combinations and stuff like that. No, you can literally use the same character over and over and over and over and as long as it needs those 2 gens, then you can get it. It's just a matter of, there's 20 legendary mutants that are implemented into the game that were added in after the fact of mutants you can breed. So you got those 20. You have the regular mutants you could breed. So like I think if you just go to breeding, like the bingo, I forgot which, I think it's just a breeding one. There's like I don't know, there's a whole line of them. If you go to the bingo, like the regular breeding characters, the rare mutants, I guess you would say, but then there's mutants that are a little bit rarer than those, and then those are added into it. I think in all there's, I don't know, I did the math a while back in terms of how many characters you can breed, and then on top of all of those, so let's say it's 100 or whatever, and then on top of those you have the characters that they included into this event, which I don't know what characters they included, but for the most part, most of the characters I've seen were from Research 9, so our bingo Research 9. I might have been from that bingo card. I don't know if all those characters were breedable. Well, all of them weren't, of course, because you had only Necro and Mythic, or Necro and Zoomorph, which you could have actually gotten more than that, because all you would have to do, so as you can see what I'm doing currently, you pick Cerberus, which is Zoomorph Necro, and then the other character you put up, you can put in 2 different gens and it'll come out something else. So basically you can breed a wide variety of characters. So let's say it's Research 9 bingo card, that's 36 more characters to add in. Now you have like 100 and something characters into the same pool, but your regular characters like Cerberus itself, since you're breeding it, Grim Reapus, what are some of the other zombies, stuff like that, like those, well, not zombies gonna be a real, that's really hard to breed. Dire D-Spot, I think, is one of them. There's a few of them that are going to continuously pop up over and over because of the fact that you have those at a they're easier to breed. Like, let's say it's a 50% chance for those to breed, as to where the legendary character or the one that they're giving away is probably 1%. So you have to literally make at least like 100 breeds. So people were complaining, oh, I bred this character and this character 4 times and got the same mutant. Yeah, of course you're gonna get the same mutant over and over and over. It's just a chance. It's basically like if you play a gacha game, it's just odds. Like the odds of you getting the easier character, of course, are gonna be higher than the character that has like a 1% chance of actually being created. So, and then on top of that, you have other characters that use the same gens that you can breed. So you're gonna have a ton of that character being bred, and that one's probably a little bit easier to breed than this character that is the rarest, because they were calling it the rarest or something like that character to get. So you just got to keep trying. But if you're going for a specific character, all you have to do, like this one here, you can see I use Undead Dragon. I think it's like 40. Yeah, 43. So all you have to do is use whatever gen that you're missing. So in this case, you're missing Mythic, so you just use a Mythic mutant that has double Mythic, because you're guaranteed to get a Mythic, and then at that point all you have to do is get the Necro, but you also have the Zoomorph thrown in there, so you're gonna have those characters as well. So there's a big pool of characters that you're creating, which if you watch this entire video, you can go through and see how many times I got certain characters with certain mythics. But it doesn't really matter which one you use it with, because people are like, oh, you have to use this character and this character. No, you don't have to use that character and that character. As long as they have the same gen type and you're using the specific characters they give you, you're fine. As long as you're using Undead Dragon and Cerberus, and then if you're going for the main character that they were giving away, double mythic or even single mythic if you wanted to do that, that's the easiest way to get it. The odds of getting it are a lot shorter or a lot less than if you used a mythic character with mythic necro, because the other character already has necro, so you would start getting double necro mutants or stuff like that. See, like there's Grim Reapus, which you get a lot, stuff like that. So anytime you have a breeding event, just look at the characters that you get, that they give you, because they always give you a character or two, so, or sometimes they give you more. This time it was, in this case, there was 2 characters. Pick one of the 2, whichever one's cheaper, honestly. And then if you're trying to go for other characters, because there were other characters in this that you could have went for, but the main one that everybody wanted was this one. You could use the Firestorm combo and do 100 breeds, and you can get it within those 100, or maybe you'll have to do 100 more. I mean, some people didn't even get it and they spent 2,000 to 3,000 gold. Some people spent a couple hundred gold and got lucky. I forgot how much I spent. I didn't spend too much because I got lucky, but I did spend quite a bit. But if you watch the whole thing, I'm pretty much just using Cerberus and then characters that have double mythic, and that's it. That's all you have to do. There were other characters that I think I needed as well. I think I got one other character that I needed, which happened to be a mythic one, so I got lucky there. But mainly, if they ever have a breeding event and people are basically saying, oh, you got to use this and this to get it, no, and that might have worked for them, but you could do the same breed they did 1,000 times and not get it. But you could do that character and one other character and then get it on the first one. Like, that's why I usually switch it around, even though some people are like, I got it with this and this or this and that. The best bet you had with this was just using a mythic character with double mythics. So all you had to do was go through your list, look for all your double mythics, bring them out if they were frozen, and just continuously cycle those over and over and over, and one of them would eventually hit, which of course I got it. I mean, that was the whole point of the video, for me to get it and to show you how much I had to actually do to get it. This one wasn't actually as bad as some of the breeding events I've done in the past, which thank God I got lucky, because there were breeding events in the past that I've spent upwards of like 3,000 to 4,000, 5,000 gold at one point, I think was my highest. So you can spend thousands of gold and not get the character, but all you have to do is play the odds, and the best case in this was using a double necro or a double mythic. So if the next time there's a character that requires, let's say Cerberus and Undead Dragon are the same characters, but there was a different character that was double necro, then you would use a necro mutant, double necro mutants instead of double mythics. Or if it required Saber, you would use Saber. If it required Cyber, you would use Cyber. It's the same thing, and that's how you basically get the characters. And that works for every breeding event because they always give you specific guidelines, and if you're going for those, all you have to do is get the characters that fall within those parameters and use those. That's it. That's all you have to do. There isn't any specific way to get them, because it doesn't matter how many times you breed the same pair of characters, especially in a breeding event. You're pulling from a big list. Let's say there was 20 different characters and the scale went from like 1% for the rarest character all the way up to like 90% for the easiest character to breed. Of course you're going to get that character a ton of times, but eventually you'll hit that 1%, which I don't think it's that bad, but I think there was at least I don't even know how many characters you could breed, because there was a 3rd gen thrown in there. So let's say if they, instead of picking Undead Dragon and Cerberus, they picked the double gen mutant, like a mythic or whatever, and you could use that, then that would make it a lot easier to get a said character, because you would just use that and then another double mythic or double whatever gen character, and it's a lot easier to breed it that way. But in this case, simplest answer, Cerberus, cost less, use that. And then if you're trying to get the character that everyone was trying to go for, you use mythic. So you use a double mythic, and that's it. Like you can see there, I'm breeding the same characters over and over and over. It's gonna cost you gold, but in the end, this one was probably the breeding event where you should have spent the gold to try to get that character, because you get a forge and or furnace, whatever it's called, and that's 50 gold permanently. So if you see, there's the other character I got, which was a mythic necro, although the one you're trying to get is mythic or necro mythic. So yeah, you just got to keep going and going and going and using it, and if you run out of gold, you run out of gold. If you end up spending thousands of golds, don't worry, other people have spent a lot more. If you got lucky and got it within the first few, you got it in the first few. I've done it before. It just depends on if it wants to give it to you or not. See, there's one that you always get. That's just a regular character that you can breed anytime. So of course that one's going to come up a lot more than this character, which probably has a less of a rate to be put out, because they probably, I don't know the rates, because they don't give us the rates of how much, let's say, a normal character compared to like a rare character compared to the breeding characters. So plus you have the legendary characters that they threw in there as well. I don't know, so there's different ways to get it, but there isn't a specific pair that you can use. You see me switching between the mythic characters, but honestly, if there was one specific mythic there that I used, then I would have just kept using it, but I felt like that was going to get kind of boring, so I was just switching it up a little bit, because I had like 3 or 4 different ones that I kept using over and over, and if it took me all the gold I had to get it, then I would have spent all the gold I had, but unfortunately I didn't have to do that and got it relatively quickly and spent less than 1,000, I think. So I got pretty lucky, but it did take like an hour of breeding to get it, and if it would have took me another hour, I would have spent another hour trying to get it. So for everyone complaining, it's not that hard. Just look at it as use the gens that you need, because I've seen a ton of people using like other characters that made no sense. They were throwing in mythics with like they would use a mythic that had an extra gen with it, which I don't know why you would do that when you only need the mythic at that point, because you already have the necro with the other one. So unless you were trying to get other characters as well, that would be the only time you would switch it up. But if you're specifically going for that character, that's all you had to do. So, and if I got it with this character or this character, of course somebody else is going to get it with something else, but it doesn't matter if they got it with that. For you, all it does is you just got to keep breeding until you get it. That's all it is. Just breed it and breed until you get it, because that's all you have to do. Because I could use the same character throughout this whole video and I would have eventually got it sooner or later. So it might have been easier for one character over the other, but I got it different from somebody else. I think when I was looking on the Facebook post, I seen one with like who was it? I think Firestorm was one. The one I'm using now. There's a few other mythics that people were using as well, that they were getting it, but of course they're going to get it because you're using 2 mythics. So anytime a breeding event comes out, just look at the character you're trying to go for, figure out which character is cheaper, and then throw that in with whatever character works with the gens you need, and bam, you'll get it eventually. It may take a lot of gold, but that's how the game works, especially with breeding events, because it's been like that in the past. If you were trying to get the other characters that were in it, because there were multiple characters that they put in it, but everyone was focusing on one, then of course you wouldn't use double mythic, you would use mythic and whatever else you were trying to get. Let's say you were trying to get a saber mutant, then you would throw in mythic saber. If you were trying to get a cyber, mythic cyber. So there you go, that's what I got it with. But that was just me. Let me know what you guys think. Talk to you guys later.